This is MuggleCast, the Harry Potter podcast discussing everything about J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the 366th installment of MuggleCast. Look at this, we're all together.
If you're listening to this on a leap day, or Voldemort Day, then this episode's for you.
We're in New York City.
Yeah.
We just saw 5.5 hours worth of The Cursed Child. And
some of us for the first time.
We've retired to our hotel room now. Eric and I are having a nightcap. Micah has decided to stay sober, but that's okay. So we're going to get Micah and Eric's thoughts on The Cursed Child. Lots to talk about. And we're actually streaming it live on Patreon.
Hi, patrons.
Hello, patrons.
Hello, Katie.
Katie, who just left us. We must thank Katie Hiley for the Cursed Child code that we got from her. She's the reason we could see it tonight. It was excellent seeing the show with her as well. And I'm glad we could get together and do this. Mm-hmm. This has just been kind of a fun week and a fun gathering, to have you guys in town and for all three of us to be together is always a special occasion.
And Eric's wearing his Voldemort Day shirt that he just bought.
Voldemort Day shirt, yeah. This is cool. Like, I wasn't going to buy anything. I was not going to buy one single thing. No pens, no quills, no nothing. But the end of part 2, when the Voldemort Day sign came up, I said, you know what? I like that. I'm going to buy a shirt of that.
What did you buy, Micah?
I got a few free pins on the way out.
They are still handing out Keep the Secrets pins after you leave part 1 and part 2, which is pretty funny. I don't still know why. I guess at this point they're encouraging you to keep the secrets of what's happening on stage because everybody knows the plot at this point.
Well, I don't know what was happening on stage. Like, I don't know how I would explain in a way that would be spoilery what's happening on stage.
So I guess the big question is, how do you two feel about the play now that you've seen it? You spent the past year and a half being weary about it because of the story. Now that you've seen it, what are you feeling?
I'll go first. And I think I said it when we went to dinner, and I've said it to both of you since, is that I'm still not sold on the story. And I think, number one, unless you're a Potter fan, and I think, Eric, you mentioned that you heard somebody either behind us or near us say the same thing, it's a little difficult to follow what's going on. I think that there's a lot of hat tips to different characters and different plot lines from the Potter series. So if you haven't read the Potter books, there is a little bit of difficulty. I think even I followed or had trouble following some of the transitions at times and kind of wondering, okay, what's exactly going on here? But all of that said, I think the experience and what they were able to produce inside this theater from an effects standpoint was absolutely unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And I would say that there has not been anything on Broadway that's been done that's like this. I mean, you can't even figure out how some of this stuff is being done. I mean, it's where you're talking about Dementors coming down from the rafters, or a lot of the magic that's being done, and you're going to see somebody like pulling somebody up on a string or kind of in the background, but like all this stuff is being done in the dark, which I have to give a lot of credit to the people behind the scenes doing that, because it's really, really impressive. I would say for the experience of it alone, I know there are a lot of people out there that don't like the plot of Cursed Child. I'm not going to say I warmed up to it. I still struggle with it just a little bit, but yeah, overall, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I have to say, like, sorry, the camera's got me distracted.
I'm showing patrons you guys real quick.
Hey, what's up?
We don't have the camera set up right for video.
Patrons, this is crazy.
Quick glimpse.
Hey.
We're going to release video later, though. We have a different
camera.
Yeah,
I got my cameras right over there, recording video.
How about you, Eric?
What?
Your thoughts on Cursed Child.
Oh, okay. Okay, hi.
I'll stop.
No, everything, yeah, it's distracting. Everything everybody said about Cursed Child from seeing it live is true, right? Like, the magic effects and the costumes and, God, watching them duel or escape Dementors or anything on stage is amazing. And I don't give away that I don't admit to that easily. It's phenomenal what they did on stage. What they accomplished in these 5 hours from a practical effects and staging and acting, dramatic standpoint, is really unsurpassed. I've not seen anything like it, and I don't expect to. I mean, I'd like to believe that something like Cursed Child showing up on Broadway in New York City right now really ups the bar for future productions to do crazy stuff. But if you don't have the basis of J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, such a rich tapestry on which to weave, then, it's going to be a long time before any show even rivals what is currently existing in the Cursed Child Broadway.
Yeah. The theater was also very beautiful, too. We knew that they had done a giant renovation, millions upon millions of dollars to renovate it. And in fact, it was such a big renovation that there were less seats than what were previously in the Lyric Theater.
Right.
And it looks brand new. I mean, it feels like a whole new theater, which is very rare for Broadway. Usually these theaters are very old and they'll get a good scrub down and some new carpet and new wallpaper from time to time maybe. But this was just a top to bottom. You could tell. I mean, I almost thought that I was inside a Wizarding World theme park attraction.
Yeah.
Like that lobby area and the carpet with the H's for Hogwarts on it, and then that gorgeous Patronus mural in the one area.
Yeah.
That just entryway you walk into, everything was just very beautiful.
It's so funny because it is like, it's also distinctly for Harry Potter. Like, it's absolutely, there's no other play that could ever run here without them doing some kind of remodel to take it down.
Right. It almost had like a library feel too, because in like one of the refreshment rooms there was like books up.
Yeah.
And like just as decor. But yeah, they know Cursed Child's going to be there from now until the end of time. So why not go all out and make it Harry Potter themed? Because it'll be there, 10 years? 20 years?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me though, afterwards, is it better as a play than it was as a script book? And all I can say to that is, it's a better experience seeing the play than sitting at home and reading the script. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty easy to say, that the story is the same. And we noticed a couple changes to the script, but the dialogue is the same as in the script book. When you see these actors who we were fortunate enough to catch, the 7 actors who had opened the play on the West End are now opening it on Broadway. When you see them deliver the lines, it adds an additional, I think I was able to gloss over some of the character beats more about, whether a character felt like Harry or whether a character really would say something, because you could see they were saying those things, and you kind of got to get in your head with the world of the show that this is that kind of a world. But at some points, the script was still distracting to me. At some points, the poor script, the poor story still stood out to me, unfortunately, while I was enjoying it. Hearing people actually say Scorpion King out loud, ridiculous. Absolutely dumb.
Where's The Rock? Where's Dwayne Johnson?
Where's Dwayne Johnson? I expected him to pop out. Hey, what's going on? Go see Rampage. I had no idea, right? There's still some glaring errors, I think, on the part of the story, but that's it. Literally, that's it. The plot, the costumes, the set pieces. Oh my god, the set pieces, the magic. It's absurd. It's so good.
Yeah. There's a couple characters I want to talk about, but do you have anything to say in regards to what he was just saying?
I think I let the dialogue really take a back seat, because when I went into it from the standpoint of the theme park or something else that's Potter related that you go to enjoy, right? And it's not. I don't look at it as being the 8th book. That's not my take on it. I don't really look at it as being much canon, even though J.K. Rowling has said that it is. I just went there, to go and to go in with an open mind, and I think that I have less issue with the script and the story outside of just it wasn't. I found it hard to follow at times.
Mm-hmm. but you know the script now. So, like, I didn't, like, the first time I saw it, I found it hard to follow. But that's because I had a couple screwdrivers, and it was the first time that I had no script book going into it. You know what I mean? Right. So it must have, like, I guess you were still processing it for the first time. This time I didn't have a hard time following it because I knew what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. But I think that was from the script book, remembering the script book, because obviously we've talked about it so much.
Yeah.
And in terms of story, I felt this time I accepted it. The story wasn't bothering me. I wasn't like, oh my god, this play is so ridiculous. Right. I'm just like, I guess it's almost like I'm conditioned to it now.
Right.
It's like, I'm not angry or disturbed. Like, I guess if I take a few steps back, I'll be like, wow. What the F? But now I'm just so used to it, it doesn't feel like...
Yeah. Well, I think part of that is the achievement of the special effects, too. Like, you look at something like a trolley witch scene, which is totally, hotly contested among people who like and don't like Cursed Child. People who even like Cursed Child are like, that trolley witch scene's awful, and I don't care for it, but I love the trolley witch scene in the book. But just the way that you see her, her nails extend from her hands, and you're like, how the hell do they do that? You kind of accept how crazy it is because it is happening. It's happening in front of you. You can't tell how they did it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a real win for them. Like every practical or magical effect that's in this show, I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think another area to talk about would be the Polyjuice transformation on stage was just crazy to watch because we could sit there and say, how did they do it? Was there a secret trap door that one of them dropped through? Were they standing back to back against each other? What kind of crazy things that I almost wonder who they consulted to do a lot of these different.
Yeah.
They are in their own way magic acts. Like it's as if you were going to see a magic show.
Sorry, Andrew just turned on the air conditioning.
Yeah.
There are three of us in this room.
But do you agree with that? I would say, is it like David Blaine was working
Chris
with
Angel,
them?
special consultant Chris Angel.
Just because they were that impressive, and I'm not just like kind of blowing smoke here. I was really impressed by a lot of that stuff.
This will pick up on the audio,
I'm thinking I can just noise remove it.
Then
it's on low. It's just so loud.
Yeah, I know.
Why is it so loud?
Let's do 10 seconds of silence. So
okay.
That's half of our...
it's
Hopefully
okay,
the patrons are enjoying...
Can we just turn it on?
Air conditioning. You can turn it off if you want. It was just getting hot in here.
I know it is. I know. You can take your shirt off.
By the way, I love loud noises for sleeping, so I hope you guys don't mind that being
I'm cool with
white
sleeping
noise.
in. I get
white noise. Anyway. Love white noise.
Yeah, I'm all over that.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, you wanted to talk about characters, but...
Oh, well, but just on the Polyjuice Potion point, like, that was my favorite effect, and knowing what it was going to look like, I was looking forward to seeing it a second time and trying to figure out, how do they do that? But you still don't really know. It's either they come up from under the stage or they sneak up from behind, but there's still the whole getting under the cloak thing to transition into the new character I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's a mystery, but hey, that's,
and every
the
time,
fun of it.
That is the fun of it. And every time it happens, it just seems like they do it from a different position on the stage or something. So if there's a trapdoor, wow, it's ever moving. And then
that's true.
There's moments where the stage moves, and then also with the Polyjuice, sometimes like at the ministry scene, like they deliberately, right before they transform, they turn to the side and there's nobody behind them. It's crazy. It's as if a magician, the way I compared it in the show is as if a magician is rolling up his sleeves, saying nothing under here, nothing under there, and then blowing your minds. Right. They're deliberately, I think, challenging people to try and figure out how they did it. They're so confident in their, achievement, and it actually really works.
We have so much to talk about on this week's episode of MuggleCast, but first, it's time to tell you about our sponsor this week. They are Blue Apron. They are the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Their mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone, and I love using Blue Apron. It takes the guesswork out of food shopping and gives you everything you need to make grown-up meals. I would never be able to cook what I do if it weren't for Blue Apron. They send you everything you need in a box, all fresh, including instructions. Then you fire up your stove and you get cooking. It is a blast to do at the end of the day. I love working with my hands after staring at a computer screen all day and just focusing on real objects in front of me and making something good. And then after you pulled off your latest amazing meal, you spend some time eating it with friends and family. And you can create new memories sitting at the dinner table, eating a great meal that you made. You know what else is awesome about Blue Apron? Their partnerships. They've done things with popular TV shows before, like MasterChef Junior, where a kid's recipe will be one of the recipes you make on a given week. Now they're teaming up with Airbnb. For 6 weeks from April 16th through May 21st, Blue Apron is teaming with Airbnb to bring you the best home cooking from around the world. Each week, their menu will feature a recipe developed in collaboration with an Airbnb experience host like Cece, a chef from Shanghai who makes incredible Kung Pao chicken, a beloved sticky, saucy mix of crispy brown chicken and vegetables. I love these partnerships because they really shake up the menus and give you really, really unique stuff. So check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free at blueapron.com/MuggleCast. Again, that's blueapron.com/MuggleCast. Blue Apron is a better way to cook.
So, in terms of characters, there's 2 I wanted to talk about. First of all, one of the biggest characters, Scorpius.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I should say, this whole cast, the leads came over from London. They opened the London show. I think these people are perfect. And seeing them all at the end, for the applause, I was just like, this is a great freaking cast. To me, they are now very closely associated with these Harry Potter characters.
I would agree. And seeing their commitment, not just in performing hundreds of shows on the West End, but then coming to Broadway to do it, showcases that they believe in this show in a very real way. And actually, I had that same thought during the curtain call, or even just before it when the show was wrapping up. I was like, these people are part of a Harry Potter family in a huge way, in a community. Harry Potter has changed and shaped their, in many cases, adult careers, but lives the same way it has any of ours.
Yeah.
I mean, probably in a bigger way. But seeing them, committed to their roles of doing Harry, Ron, Hermione, every joke, whether it landed or not, everything, just kind of impressed me, I think. And
all of Ron's jokes landed.
Yeah, that's true, I think.
I think
it was.
And I was saying to you, Andrew, earlier, just it's impressive to me to learn 5 hours worth of dialogue. And I know they had a lot of practice coming over from London, but they did not, at least to us or to me, miss a beat. Like they may have improvised at times, and none of us would be the wiser for it unless we were sitting there with a script book going line by line. But I was just, and not only the lines, but like the movements and all the different things that they had to keep on track being in a new theater. I'm sure they got plenty of practice, but this is their first. I know they've done some previous or some previews, and then obviously they did Sunday night, but really this is one of their first shows in front of a
first show we could get tickets to,
public audience.
It's also nice. Apparently they didn't have shows Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah,
you were saying,
because
the J.K. Rowling event was Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, you couldn't buy tickets for. So in theory, this was their first show after 2 days off. So in theory, they're fresh and
for public audience.
And that's their schedule normally, isn't it? Come to think of it.
Well, Monday, Tuesday, they have only one part. So they are. I'm pretty sure they have shows Monday, Tuesday.
No, I thought that was Wednesday and Thursday and Friday are one part, and then Saturday they do 2, like they did on Wednesdays.
We'll have to look it up. I know that
Somebody was telling me that.
Twice a week they do both shows, but every other night I think, or they have a night off.
I think they have 2 nights off,
and
I think that's because they do 2 parts in one day.
Oh, okay.
Twice a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
But speaking of general audiences, though, because I think we really did have a New York audience, and granted there were Harry Potter fans there. You could tell, some people in robes, and that was exciting to see. But there weren't near as many, I think Katie pointed this out too, there weren't near as many cheers as there might have been for certain moments in the first part, especially. And I wondered if we hadn't, in fact, gotten, a New York audience of laypersons who did not read Harry Potter. And I wonder if that speaks to what you were saying, Micah, about the play being a little excluding or exclusive.
I'm just looking now, by the way, and yeah, they're off on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Oh, and Tuesdays.
So Wednesdays today,
Both
they do
parts.
part 1 and part 2. Thursday is part 1. Friday's part 2. Saturday, part 1, part 2. Sunday, part 1 and part 2 as well.
So they're doing part 1 and part 2 3 nights a week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insane.
Somebody had told me earlier that they alternate on Sundays. So, like, the first Sunday is just part 1, then the second Sunday is just part 2.
Huh.
But yeah, they're doing 2 shows 3 nights.
And this is a lot of, like, that's the craziest thing is 5 hours, like you said, 5 hours of dialogue. It's insane. Yeah. And not only that, but I mean, they're physically there too. That's the crazy thing. Like, this is so much more important than film, than viewing Harry Potter film, because everything from the choreography, these actors, these bodies walking on stage, running across stage, interacting with each other, and the set pieces that are constantly moving is extremely impressive. They have to nail every single ingredient. You know, they're not standing in one place that the camera happens to be focused and chatting. They're everywhere. They're moving around in 3-dimensional space, and in some cases, 4-dimension if you include, like, fly space and the crazy, like, whatever's underneath the stage that we don't know about. It's just so impressive.
Yeah. What was I going to talk about?
Characters.
Oh, yeah, so Scorpius.
Yeah.
Love Scorpius. Love the whole cast. Scorpius is probably one of the standouts because he's fun, but serious. He's smart. He's like the Hermione. However, and we were all talking about this at dinner in between parts 1 and 2. He is very screamy, where it's like, ah! Like, Albus, how could you? Instead of, like, from what I remember, which is like, Albus, how could you? Or that's a bad impression.
I think he's coming in like, puberty.
No, I don't think it's that, because they're still older.
Well, but you saw it like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't like 14.
No, I thought they were. I thought Anthony Boyle and the other actor were.
No, I think they're in their 20s.
Oh,
but
okay.
But it was like I'll try it again. In London, he was like, Albus, how could you? Whereas this time he's like, Albus, how could you?
Yeah.
We're going to get a knock on the wall.
Oh, we're the cleaning ladies to somebody else's
too
podcast.
Too loud.
Yeah.
But it was just, and somebody else or you guys or somebody else at dinner was saying, like, it's constantly screaming, and it was actually grating on my ears, and we were like, how does he keep screaming for 5 hours?
How does he still have a voice 5 hours later?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a 2-hour break to get water or, whatever. Or
but still,
tea
like,
with honey.
It's a lot. I actually was getting uncomfortable hearing him speak.
Well, it's weird. It's a lot to get used to. I think, speaking of that New York audience, who were quiet for most of it, they came around. They held on his every beat. Like, he had the most laughs per the show. I think the show's designed that way. But, like, everyone was with him. Everyone was rooting for him. And especially come Act 3 when he starts off, doing a lot of it on his own, everyone was rooting for him. But it was a lot to get used to, I think. Mm-hmm. I was not expecting that, especially when he's playing 11 or 12 or 13 the first hour of the show.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was at first trying to disguise the fact that his voice was just naturally deeper, but then he continued to, do the scream talking kind of thing later on. He's just being hysterical, but I'm wondering, like, when the time comes to recast, and I love this cast, by the way. I wouldn't change this cast for this show. Can't imagine having seen it with anyone else except these 7, but when it comes time to recast, will they cast another actor with a deeper voice that has to shout scream his lines, or will they cast somebody who can go a little higher pitched when he's being, excitable?
Mm-hmm. Did Scorpius please you, Micah?
The voice didn't bother me. I mean, I thought it added to the effect.
Okay.
And
did you like the character, I guess? Because I would say he's the most unique character.
Oh, yeah. I would say if you were asking me my favorite character from the show, I mean, I liked Ron. I thought he was, there for the comedic effect most of the time. But Scorpius was definitely the standout performer across the board. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then my other complaint was McGonagall. It was clearly an American trying to put on a Scottish accent, and it was not working at all. I'm not even going to try to impersonate it, but she was just like, she would just be like, I can't do a Scottish accent, so it's hard for me to demonstrate, but she would just go like up and down in her notes, so to speak, in her levels, and it felt like she was just in this circle of like go up, go down, go up, go down, and suddenly that makes you Scottish, as well as trying to put on a Scottish accent, but she would naturally or accidentally slip back into her natural American accent. She was also grating on my ears too.
I didn't feel that. I can see what you're talking about. I think that got better maybe as the show went on. But
I think it got worse.
But what that comes down to for me too is, and I talked to somebody about this, but these actors imitating their movie counterparts. Like that's a big thing for me, is because, you know, McGonagall isn't necessarily Scottish. She might be now on Pottermore if you look it up. But Maggie Smith is Scottish, and this is somebody trying to do Maggie Smith's McGonagall. And I'm regardless of how you feel about McGonagall, I'm so glad they didn't do it with Snape. I'm so glad.
Yes, that was going to be my next question.
The Snape actor, who I actually loved, but he's not in it very much, is very much his own Snape. And somebody mentioned Dumbledore was channeling like Richard Harris, and I agree with that. Like that was very much a Harris style of Dumbledore. But where these characters were allowed to be their own as they exist in this world portrayed by these actors, that's where the characters succeeded the most, I think. Mm-hmm. Somebody doing a movie impression, which again is good for general audiences, because general audiences who've only seen the movies will respond to that as their character. But I think in general where it succeeds is where characters were allowed to be a new interpretation, because that's very much what this play boldly tries to do, is take these characters in new, different directions.
Yes, I agree with you. The issue that I had with Snape was the way that he was written, not the way that he was necessarily portrayed. Just because the Snape that we all know from the series was not the Snape that was on stage. Just the way that he was interacting with Scorpius, you know, his attitude, his sort of perspective, his bond with Hermione and Ron, you know, in that scene, the way they seem to have this relationship with each other. Yeah, it just wasn't very Snape-like. You know, he has this sternness to him, and I understand certainly that, you know, when we do think of Snape, we think of Alan Rickman and the way that he portrayed him just so perfectly. But that part two for me, and we can talk about this as well, was not as strong as part one. If we were to go back to the questions from last week and say which part would I go back to see, I would go back to see part one. I would not go back to see part two.
Oh, I would go back to see part two. Part two has like 200% more flying, more it's less polyjuice, but everything from the alternate reality Dementors and stuff. If I could relive one scene though,
Umbridge was great, by the way.
Umbridge was very good.
Yeah.
Again, sort of their own thing, but very reminiscent still of Dolores Umbridge. Myrtle was a complete copy.
Well, and you mentioned those two characters. I'd say those two characters had some of the biggest audience reactions when Umbridge first walked out. I think there was a big applause.
Yeah.
And then Myrtle was just very funny, and she was getting the audience laughing.
Myrtle actually killed it, like, in a good way. I felt that actress did a lot. I mean, she's doing sort of acrobatics, like she's flexing on a rim of a sink, and the rim is spinning, and she's doing all this movement, like yoga, different positions or whatever, while delivering her lines. And I thought it worked really well. Like, I would rewatch that scene.
And she's got the hots for Harry, which was funny.
Yeah, I don't know where she became hypersexualized. It must have been, but like that's movie canon, I guess. In movie 4, when everything's weird and hypersexed at Hogwarts, it's.
You've always been confident. Hello, Ginny's right here.
Yeah,
she was enjoying it though.
Yeah,
Ginny. Oh, do you think this play did Ginny well?
I want to ask you that. You were looking forward to her.
That was one of the things I said I was looking forward to, is doing Ginny justice. And I think the Ginny in this play is the Ginny that has to work for this play. I liked her just fine. I think Poppy Miller is her actress, I think. And I actually liked her better than I thought I would, so that's good.
Yeah, I like Ginny in the show.
As Ginny, yeah. Ginny in the show has an important role. It's not a leading role, but it's an important role.
She's just always underutilized in the movie. Yeah. And she's very shy the whole time, and in this she's come into her own. And
Yeah, they don't make it so that she's exactly like a Molly Weasley carbon copy.
No.
So that's good. They do give her, a couple extra scenes with Harry where it's important. And in the end, I buy the relationship between Harry and Ginny and Ron and Hermione.
Yeah.
So and speaking of Ron and Hermione, like that pairing that I was looking forward to, I liked that a lot. And I think there was even an overt commentary to like, well, we may not always be together in alternate universes, but we're together now.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Well, I actually found it quite beautiful how, like, they kissed in the alternate reality, because, like, they knew deep down that they were
always
meant to be
for each other.
Yeah, and how Hermione was miserable without Ron in the second, or in the first alternate reality. She was just mean as a teacher, you know? So, I thought that was sweet.
Yeah, definitely. Character-wise, I said this probably during dinner in between the two parts, but I want the guy who plays the Sorting Hat to have his own show where we learn the 1,000-year history of the Sorting Hat, because I thought he was amazing. They kind of have him be like an extra, I don't know, like narrator, but like he's present on stage even when not acting. He's the one who sets up some of the magic, like some of the stages. He's like the one who brings out, I don't know, a handbag for magic to sprout out of or something.
Yeah, he was also Hagrid, I think.
I think that was the same guy. And maybe Bane.
Maybe Bane and...
the Patronus holder.
Patronus holder, yes.
Yeah.
That... I want to talk about that. The Patronus, very cool. One of you was like, why wasn't it the whole body? But the head...
That wasn't me.
Was it you? Michael was like, why wasn't the whole Patronus?
Well, they did a whole centaur, let's be clear.
Yeah, come on.
That was pretty cool.
No, well, I'm just saying they invested all this time, energy, effort into creating all this magic that you're seeing. Why would you just have somebody walking out with like a horse on a head?
Because the head was...
the dough.
On fire! It was a white fire.
They did use actual fire, and I don't know how the hell they made it burn white.
Yeah, that was very cool. I think that was one of my favorite special effects, because, like, going into this, how would you have imagined they'd done a Patronus and it without it looking stupid? And I think that was one of the most shocking and coolest ways to do it. It's a white fire, and you still see the dough.
It was the one effect where I could see the person behind it, holding it.
Yeah.
And that, like, even when chairs are floating around, you have no idea how the hell they're floating around. There's nobody behind. There's no fingers, like, black fingers holding them.
Isn't that on purpose, though? Because if you're seeing him hold the head, then you're not wondering where the rest of the body is. Whereas if you just saw the head, you'd be like, well, where's the rest of the body?
It could be, yeah. Well, it was clearly like it's an intentional decision, right?
Yeah.
It's
just like when the Sorting Hat guy is just holding a cap, you're not like, where's the rest of the Sorting Hat? You know he is the Sorting Hat.
It was weird that it was like a bowler cap, but it worked. I don't care. It worked. Like it was really good stuff. And that guy was great. I'm trying to think other standout characters. I mean, every bit part was played intentionally. Like you believe in Almost Diggory. You believe in Dumbledore in those moments with the portrait. You really kind of...
The time travel transitions were very cool as well, where it's like...
Oh my god. You know, that's my favorite effect. I can't believe we made it, 30 minutes in and not talked about this. How do they do that?
I think what it is, it's projection mapping. This is like a popular thing they do on Disneyland castles now. To make the castles like move and come to life. I think they're projection mapping the back of the stage where all the pillars are and whatnot. And then the projection map, which is just like a giant screen essentially, it goes in and out. And then with that cool effect, which is like...
They do it probably 20 times in the show. Yeah. I'm never tired of seeing it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it every time, and I was like, yes.
And the first time, everybody was like, whoa!
It looks like a ripple effect on everything. It looks like time itself, it looks like you're going through a bubble,
Yeah. It was a very good way to establish that time was moving.
Did they do that in the West End too?
Yeah. That still took my breath away tonight, seeing it for the first time like it did everybody else, because it's so impressive.
Oh my god.
And you got to think some of the tech has probably been upgraded since the London one.
Yeah.
So
maybe even in London. Well, the owl has certainly been upgraded.
Yeah, so the owl, actually a lot of people listening live are wondering about the owl. It was not a live owl, but there was an owl, and it shoots straight across to deliver a letter. Do you remember what the letter was about?
That Albus and Severus had been gone missing. Albus and Scorpius had escaped the train.
Something like that, yeah. And it was at least halfway through part one.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing is, I definitely absolutely think that how they do Expelliarmus probably works like they have like the wands get sucked into their sleeve and then come out of their sleeve.
Yeah.
And that was definitely like coordinated with the bird that was coming across for Harry to have the letter shoot up or whatever.
Okay.
I think that has to be how they did that but everything was on like completely on point. It was just absolutely like astonishingly achieved.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. So
right, and how there were no problems really.
Yeah, there was
with any nothing broke. Everything seemed to work.
Nothing broke. No flubbed lines that I could tell. We had all the principal cast. No understudies were out that we could see, and
I was relieved about that. You always worry about that going in, like, oh, is somebody going to be absent today?
I'm sure they still would have been good. But yeah, I mean, I think for the first time seeing it, you prefer. But yeah, honestly, like getting back to the play and the script and should I go see it? If people are debating whether they want to go see it or not, if you've read it, you know what to expect from the story, but go for the amazing technical achievement and go for spending a night, that will make you feel some things. Like the moment where Harry and his son are interacting, or some of these moments that Harry and Dumbledore are, it's seeing being a Harry Potter fan and seeing a dramatic play like this in action will always affect you if you're, I think, a real Harry Potter fan. And I don't think you need necessarily even have an open mind.
By the way, there was a guy next to me, a few seats down, like freaking snacking through most of part 2.
That was me, right?
Act 2. No, it was to the left. They were loud, and one person went, shh. And he still don't stop. He was like fiddling with a container for like 10 minutes and then snacking for the next 15. I was like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to cry over here. But I went and grabbed the the show bill.
Yeah, that's a big difference, by the way.
Yeah, it's not a playbill technically. It's called a show bill at Cursed Child because it means that the producers wanted to put a certain number of things in here.
Like special ads and...
Yes, and there's an interview in here, isn't there?
Well, there's an interview.
I wanted to read that.
Yeah, there's a summary of all 7 books. Like each of the 7 years at Hogwarts, there's a summary of each of those years for the layperson who's seeing this show.
Yes.
So that's cool.
But so there's this. This isn't an interview, but in this playbill, there's this article called "Harry Potter: The Boy Protected by His Mother's Love." Consultant psychiatrist Dr. Shirley Gracias on how early childhood experiences can shape the adults we become. Why is there an essay in here from a child psychiatrist about
it's to lend credence to the idea that this is realistic.
That this has weight to it.
Exactly. That it's realistic story arc for the characters to undertake, which I think is just garbage. But
it is so strange that they felt the need to put an essay by a psychiatrist in here. That just says to me.
And which one is that? Part 1.
This is the part 1.
Is there one in part 2 about like dads and their kids?
Oh, maybe there should be,
because there's definitely some. Well, both with Harry and Albus, and then with Scorpius and Draco.
Isn't the play supposed to teach you what the psychiatrist might be saying here? Like, why do you need this additional context? That just says to me they want to give people extra info because the story was not the most well-written thing, and they're trying to explain why this story would come into existence in the first place.
I think... Wow, you threw that pretty far across the room.
It's wet. I don't want to keep it.
I'm not that angry that interview exists. I think though that I think there is a disconnect between what these playwriters, whose initials start with J, all of them, think this play accomplished. You know what? I'm not a parent. I can't even speak to this. If you're a parent who had kids and you feel like being a parent is well represented in this play, I'm not going to say anything against that. That's fine. I can't talk. I guess this interview exists because somebody out there is going to find it meaningful.
Yeah. And that's fair enough. I hope parents do find it meaningful.
Yeah. But I mean, what this play does for me, I think now having seen it is it shows me it's actually really difficult because everything that worked, all of the amazing magical stuff, which I can't stop talking about, I won't stop talking about, could have been better suited in a better written story. It's that. It's the bottom line. Every scene that wowed me, I thought this would be even better in a better play or with a better script, propping up a better story.
Yeah.
And that's what sort of grinds my gears, is unless there's a Cursed Child 3, which I hope there's not. This is the Harry Potter show. This is the Harry Potter show that we're getting live stage, and you got to kind of suck it up and go see it, because what they're doing is amazing, regardless of the story.
Somebody's asking, Andrew, did you cry during the staircase scene? That's something I said I would do last episode. The answer is no, but I guess I should ask you guys, how did you feel about Albus and Scorpius? Were you getting the gay vibes going on?
They ship Rose a lot in this.
At the end.
Scorpius and Rose, he's always talking about Rose.
At the end!
It's weird.
The whole story, they're developing, a close bond, and I would be stuck in a hole for 40 years with you.
Yeah, this show. You were from day one. You've been completely right. Now, having seen it, about how this play treats that relationship.
Yeah,
they are 1 foot in one sandbox and 1 foot in the completely opposite sandbox. About
it's crazy
whether they're together or not. There's these lines like "you two mean a lot to each other." I can tell, or "you two are each other."
Yeah,
you two are each other's everything.
Yeah, Delphi was like, "You two belong together."
Yeah. What?
I'm just so numb to it ever happening that it doesn't. I don't even have an effect.
I thought you were wearing a shirt tonight. You went with your
I know,
button
I
down,
should've.
Deathly Hallows. No, definitely. There's lines there, and there's moments there where you're wondering if that's going to happen. But I would also say that I think, and they did a good job explaining this, is that both of them were very much isolated growing up, it seems like, and they have parental issues, right? As we were just talking about. And I think, at least what I took away from it, is these were two people who were finding each other that very much needed somebody else as their counterpart, as a best friend. And whether it goes beyond that at some point, who knows, right?
Yeah.
We don't know. Cursed Child 3, as Eric just said. But
they both pursue females in this story.
They do. They absolutely do. And Albus with Delphi and Scorpius with Rose, but I think at least the way that it was written, and again, I'll say, like, there were definitely some lines and some moments there, the staircase scene being one of them, but I feel like it was very much about, people who were lonely growing up finding somebody that they could relate to, and that they could, kind of go on this adventure with, very much like Harry, Ron, and Hermione did at the beginning of. I mean, they're not all that different, right? I mean, Hermione's, a Muggle. She's coming from outside of the wizarding world. Ron, has sibling issues, and Harry's an orphan. So I mean, they're both with Albus and Scorpius. They're not starting out all that much differently.
Yeah. And there is that line as well that Draco has about being alone, about how lonely it was to have no one, to have Crabbe and Goyle as friends who were not near as good friends as Ron and Hermione were. So I think loneliness is definitely a good theme, but where it falls short is explaining how Delphi felt growing up. She grew up, alone in the world, and Delphi is probably the most mistreated character in this show, as far as by the show. Like, I had high expectations for Delphi, and I didn't like her. And that's not to say the actress wasn't good. I think the play does not have a compelling villain, or allow her enough time to really be menacing necessarily.
Yeah.
By the time she gets around to taking over, she's a force to be stopped. But you don't really get, apart from a couple lines of, I just wanted to meet my father, you don't really kind of buy it or like her or root, or I don't know how I feel. How do you guys feel about Delphi?
Delphi's Delphi.
She's just like, she's always going to be that glaring Voldemort at a kid kind of what kind of
like
thing?
I thought the actress was very good. I just don't really have an opinion about her.
She's the main villain of this show.
I know.
But, like, that's my point. Not having an opinion about her is acceptable, but it's not acceptable for
because to me the story is about Albus and Scorpius, and not in a gay way. just being friends who are getting through some trouble that they did get themselves into. Delphi is the villain here, and she's the antagonist, but Albus and Scorpius do cause a lot of the things that end up happening. I mean, they could have, for example, smashed a time turner much earlier on and not, invited Delphi over for the big time turning, destroying ceremony.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that tattoo on your back? Wait a second.
And here's a point I was unclear on. So Draco Malfoy did have a time turner after all. And all these rumors that they went back in time. Did he go back in time to have more time with Astoria? Or did he and Astoria and Scorpius go back in time at any point to have more
addressed
time
But
together?
Draco says he got it from his dad because his dad likes collecting those types of things.
Yeah, it was unclear because he talked about hiding Scorpius away from the world when Scorpius was a kid, but he wouldn't have hit him in the past, or Scorpius would be older than he really is.
Yeah. No, I don't think he ever used it.
Okay. I know he said he wanted to use it after Astoria died to go visit her and never would. Because he'd give anything.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said, I'd give my soul for another minute with her.
Oh.
Or whatever. But it was unclear if at first they used the time turner for either to stay her maledictine blood curse. Did you catch that word? She had a malediction. She's like that Nagini girl in Fantastic Beasts 2.
Oh, yeah.
Maledictus. Yeah, there's some kind of blood curse going on there.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know, man. That,
Let's look at the questions I asked you guys last week.
I love it.
What character are you most looking forward to? Eric, you said Ginny and Ron Hermione, and Micah said Working Dad Harry.
Oh yeah, Working Dad Harry.
What do you think of Working Dad Harry?
Is that actually why you like part one? Because there was a lot of Working Dad Harry in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know that the Working Dad component came through that much at home. I definitely we saw him a couple times at the Ministry, but I liked the actor who portrayed Harry in this. I thought he was really good.
I grew to not only like him but love him throughout the show. Seeing him, absolutely bought that he was.
The interaction with McGonagall was a little bit weird.
Overall,
when they're kind of yelling back and forth at each other.
Scene.
Oh,
I was glad that it was handled more gracefully than the play puts it, but the play did not hold any punches when he tells Albus that he doesn't.
No, I thought that was delivered
Yeah.
strongly and as well as you could
But
possibly
he
deliver
lets,
that line.
He lets McGonagall off a little easy, I think, in that delivery, which is how I prefer it because he's horrible to McGonagall.
But now I would definitely change that to Scorpius.
yeah. Okay.
Scorpius. I would say, God, who was I most impressed by? Probably Hermione, actually.
Yeah, she's really good.
Just Hermione. She's
Noma.
Noma is really good.
And then, what was your favorite scene, Eric? You said you said what scene were you looking forward to? Trolley, and then Micah said church scene. What do you think?
Yeah.
Huh? What do you think of the church scene, Micah? After all that,
I thought it was good. I liked the polyjuice into Voldemort, which is what I was looking forward to. And then there was a lot with Delphi and as the augury and kind of rising and falling. The battle with Harry and Albus against her, and so I thought it lived up. As far as what would be my favorite scene now, I would probably have to take it back to part one, the Polyjuice, when they're breaking into the Ministry.
it's so fun.
That in the bookcase.
And then that
scene.
goes right.
The bookcase scene was awesome.
The bookcase scene and the breaking into the Ministry. That's like really big highs early on in the show that are like really, really, really good.
So part one or part two? What ended up being better? You both thought part two would be better.
He says part one now.
Yeah. I thought part one was better,
And I like part two better.
Part two is very stirring, though, especially at the end when they're watching, Voldemort kill James and Lily.
I still don't think that's necessary. Yeah,
and then the bed burning and the Hagrid walks in.
The burning crib, man.
Oh, was that a crib? Is that what that was? I guess
I thought it was a crib.
Yeah.
It might not. Well, he picks Harry up out of it, so it probably isn't a burning crib.
that's true.
It's very evocative. It's very striking when you see it. You're just like, whoa.
Eric, you were looking forward to the score by Imogen Heap.
You know what? That did not disappoint. If that's on Spotify, I want it.
It's not. I don't think.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I didn't pay much attention to it.
Oh, really?
Really?
Every transitions that they were doing where the whole company is just dancing and shit and swishing their...
When it got loud, it was good. Like, there's that one scene where, transition scene where Albus is, doing all these crazy wand moves with a group of people.
I didn't get
that.
Yeah!
It was random, but I thought it was...
that.
I was into it, though.
It was like, are they learning magic for the first time? Because it's technically, year 3, and they're doing, Lumos. And I'm like, this is weird.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it was very, very, very cool, though.
That was about it for the questions.
Last week.
You're feeling better about it, I take it, both of you now.
I'm glad I saw it, and I think it is absolutely meant to be seen because it's actually truly astonishing what they're doing on stage. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I wish the story were better. Simple as that. But it's if you have the money to spend, and now you can see it in New York. You don't even need to go all the way to London. You should. And it's coming to Australia.
Well, it depends where you live. It depends where these people who are listening live.
Oh my god, I can't believe it's coming to Australia. It's crazy to think there's going to be 3 productions running simultaneously.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, but it's just crazy to think that all that magic will be happening every night in 3 different countries around the world.
They should just video it, and they should release it in theaters.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of video and releasing in theaters, you also saw Puffs while you were here.
I did see Puffs the play. I saw it on Sunday night. Yes, I saw it on Sunday night.
But apparently you didn't think you liked it as much as Micah did?
I have to say, I had some issues with it as a Hufflepuff. I had some issues. Again, the production is actually really, really good. You have some very fast-paced choreography going into and out of sets and doors and things like that. Very zippy. Obviously, it's meant to be a comedy. It's a parody show. So I thought the laughs were all there. But I do think that it fails to execute this premise that I threw onto the play, which was what to do if you're conflicted about being a Hufflepuff. I think in the end, unfortunately for me, Puffs the play didn't solve that question. It doesn't answer the question, what do you do if you are not feeling good about being a Hufflepuff? The lessons that it teaches are not, I think, helpful to me as a former Gryffindor turned Hufflepuff. And that's a real shame. And I think parts of the play laugh at Hufflepuffs more than they laugh with Hufflepuffs.
Oh, so Eric's feeling a little burns. Whereas Micah went in as what? Ravenclaw, and you were like, haha, yeah, Hufflepuffs do suck.
So, the thing I'll say,
best play ever.
The thing I'll say about Puffs, it's a good, much cheaper alternative of The Cursed Child, and you may find more laughter in it.
Well, and the reason I transitioned with and being in movie theaters soon, I don't know if we ever talked about it on MuggleCast, but they're going to be showing it in movie theaters in over 2 nights. I think streaming live? I'm not sure.
I might go, honestly, because seeing it in the theater would be a good experience with friends.
But then soon after that, they're going to be releasing it digitally, and I just haven't had a chance to see it. So that'll be the chance I can sit at home and actually watch it. It'll be fun to watch a play on camera. I've never actually done that before, I don't think. Just watch the recorded presentation of a show.
Like a bootleg Hamilton.
You know what I mean?
That I saw, yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't done that. Any other thoughts? We'll talk about it more in the weeks ahead, I'm sure. We have some other news to talk about that we'll talk about.
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to go through the playbill for both parts and do a little bit more, or showbill, and do a little bit more investigation. Shout out to more different cast members that we saw, that kind of a thing. I'm really glad that we did this genuinely, and I think that it's a hell of a production in general. And if you do happen to be seeing it in the coming months, don't get rid of your ticket. It's I mean, I'm not,
I'm just glad you two aren't going to hate on it anymore. End of an era.
I think when it comes to the story, I'm always going to hate it.
But you hate it less now, right?
This was... I would absolutely choose to watch it for 5 hours than to sit and read it at home for 5 hours. Or 20 hours, however long it's going to take me to read 200 pages. So... Or no. Less than 5 hours. Less than 20 hours.
How much was that Voldemort Day shirt, by the way?
$30. All t-shirts. And this is what I liked. All the t-shirts were the same price. Whether it was the House Crests or Voldemort Day, which they rolled out at the end of, part 2 or the end of part 1.
Yeah.
The pens in the gift shop. So I did actually do some research. Each of the house pens are $10, or you can get quill pens, the ballpoint pens that are quills, which they don't sell down in Orlando, or at least they didn't used to the last time I was there. They use them. All the cashiers have them. The quills, the pens that are quills.
Probably get them on Amazon for like $2.
Those are also $10. And did we look at the show program?
No, I bought it last time. I want to say it's like $20 or something.
And your hoodie was
probably 40 or something like that.
I will say there was an opportunity to gouge Harry Potter fans with this gift shop, and I don't necessarily think they did.
Yeah, I guess not. My bottle of water was $6, and I was genuinely shocked by that. I thought it would be more money.
Yeah.
I did get today a souvenir cup because when you buy the beer, you can upgrade, or soda, you can upgrade, quote unquote, to the souvenir cup. Although apparently Micah got it without an upgrade.
Yeah, I just
no fair.
Got a soda and it was $8.
Yeah, they told me it was just $4 when I ordered a drink. They were like, if you want a souvenir cup, it's an extra $4. And they gave me the cup but didn't pour anything in it, so I have a fresh cup for just $4.
Well, when I went back for part 2, they only charged me $4 for the soda.
Because you used your cup.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good then. When you see it again, Cursed Child?
Not soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be a little while.
Yeah.
Because it's a long time commitment.
I'm seeing it Saturday, so
yeah,
I'll
lucky
let you know
you.
what that
Lucky
experience
you.
is like.
Well,
no, I'm actually looking forward to seeing it again with somebody who I care about, unlike you two. So. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
no, I'm really
note.
glad that the three of us. I really am glad that the three of us. I sat next to Mike. It was a wonderful time.
No, I had fun too, sitting next to Edward. Actually, on my left are two people who had seen it in London, and they were big fans, and they were adorable because they were older than us. I want to say they were in their 40s or something. And the woman next to me was like, she would like silently cheer them on when they like nailed a line. I got the impression she has the script book memorized because like she would like Scorpio would say something and then she would like kind of like shake her fists in joy, like, oh my god, yes, he pulled it off perfectly. Like, wow. It's like me at a Bruce Springsteen show. I'd be like, oh my god, he nailed that solo line. She was like, oh my god, Scorpio's nailed that line.
Oh my god. Well, there will always be bigger Harry Potter fans than us then, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah.
Where's their podcast?
Yeah, I know, right?
I memorized
it. It was one of those things where it's like, I could tell them, but I'm not, it's a whole story you have to end up going into, so I didn't. I needed like a card. Like,
we need business
check out
cards.
MuggleCast.
Yeah.
That's what we should have been chilling while we were there. Anyway, so on the next episode, Hogwarts Mystery, the app was also released today.
Yes, I opened it and I created a character, but they haven't even been sorted yet.
I went through a Charms class. That's as far as I've gotten. We'll talk about it more. And then there was also a new Fantastic Beasts clip that came out, and there was something interesting about Dumbledore.
I heard some crazy things, yeah.
So we'll talk about that on the next episode. And
we know who Jessica Williams will be.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so lots to talk about.
We did get a Patreon giveaway.
Yes, what did we get? Oh, you don't even know, actually, do you?
Oh, it's a mystery.
No, they were. It's a Hogwarts mystery.
So Voldemort Day, something, right?
A Voldemort Day sticker set, and then a pin. So, but I got 2 of each. So we'll send 2 people Voldemort Day sticker set, which is actually cool because it also has like the Slytherin stickers from Voldemort Day, and they're they're like snake designs. They look evil. They're pretty cool, and the lapel. So that'll be.
Make sure it's somebody who likes Cursed Child, because otherwise, it's just
No, I think they're cool designs, whether or not you.
Yeah.
I have a Voldemort Day shirt, but it's too small for me now. So
is it this logo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. It looks Hot Topic-y to me.
A little bit, but like in the retro, like when I shopped at Hot Topic kind of way. Like,
right. Back
worse.
before they were like, we can't be an emo store
Did they
anymore.
change over the merchandise for part 2?
They added the Voldemort stuff.
Oh, they added the Voldemort.
Yeah.
They put up over.
They had a Voldemort Day poster that glows in the dark, and I was so close to buying it. Actually, I tried to, and then they were like, oh, we're out, but try over in the lobby. And I did, and they had them, but then I was having second thoughts, because I'm like, am I going to hang up a Voldemort Day poster in my house? Like, I like it, but I'm trying to put real decorations in my house right now. Yeah. I just bought a condo. I want it to look like, I don't
big boy house.
Big boy. Right. And I hate to say that.
Put it in the guest room. Put it in the guest. Put everything childish in the guest room, and then.
Well, the other thing is that it says on it Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, whereas that, what you're wearing, doesn't have Harry Potter.
I have to show you my butt real quick because I need you to.
Oh, it has that.
Does it?
No, it doesn't.
Thank God. This is the one shirt that doesn't say like Lyric Theater.
My hoodie has that on
yes,
the back.
I saw it on the and it's glittery just like the front.
Yeah, on the butt. It says
Lyric Theater, New York City. Ugh.
Oh, you checking out my butt? No, I just want to know where Chris Child is.
It's an interesting placement for additional text that is unexpected on
It
merchandise.
is. It's strange.
I saw it on a mannequin.
But it was unique, and that's why I was kind of...
It's still a cool hoodie. I support it.
I might buy a house shirt, because the house emblems
They were cool.
are different.
And they were understated, you know, like they were in the background in a couple scenes when they're in the hall or whatever, and
Right.
that's about it. It wasn't in your face, these are the new Hufflepuff designs.
Yeah.
Or, these are the new house designs.
And, by the way, for anyone who cares, the Voldemort Day poster will actually come in a tube, which is very helpful when you're in the city.
Oh, and in a theater even, just trying to manage, trying to get it out of the rest of the show.
Yeah. All right, so, I think we're going to go to bed now.
Yeah.
Did you finish your beer?
I did.
I don't know if I finished mine.
You did not.
Oh,
we have to keep talking till you
Micah's
do.
been staring longingly
Keep
at
talking.
it.
Final thoughts on our experience tonight and in New York City, anybody?
What do you have to say, Micah?
Any
other thoughts about the show that's been bugging you?
No, I mean, I would say one other thing I did enjoy was, and it's a small thing, but how they had members of the cast, depending on where you were in the story, like when you were coming back or just starting out, they would do like the cell phone thing.
Oh, yeah.
So like
put away your phones.
Yeah, at the beginning I couldn't exactly tell who it was, but when you came back from the intermission of part 1, it was, I believe, Hermione who did it.
Minister
as
for Magic.
Minister for Magic. But then as you were going into the start of part 2, I think it was Umbridge.
Yeah.
They didn't do one for coming out of the intermission of part 2. They just kind of went right into the story. But I thought that was cool. Then, and you guys talked about it, just the whole experience inside the theater, the way that they were able to set it up, both, the stage, but then everything else all around. I think one thing we didn't touch on, but just the black lighting when they're in the nursing home and they're discovering, who Delphi is, and they are able to kind of make all that come alive around literally the entire theater.
That was crazy.
The only thing cool in that was the Dementors at the end of part 1.
Yeah. I like the black light effect more, because it's like, that's a truly, like, how did they do that? Because it truly is on every wall and every part of the ceiling.
Well, I joked.
All the writing.
Yeah, I joked that in 20 years' time when a new show is there, we have to still hold a black light up and see if the writing is still there. Because it's clearly like it's invisible, I don't know.
Well, some of it's probably projection, right? And some of it's probably really there.
Oh, it would be crazy if it was all projection.
I
think it was actually black light because my shirt was
looks
purple.
like,
my white shirt was...
Shirts.
Yeah. So it's got to be something.
And you could see the purple beams coming. Yeah, it was really nuts.
Amazing. But like, really all in.
Yeah, I would just say overall, if you're able to do it, I know number 1 tickets are obviously not always that inexpensive, but if you're able to get a good deal and
Friday 40 maybe?
Yeah.
You're in New York and you're able to invest that time, because that's the other piece of it, right? We know it's expensive. We know it's a time commitment. The part 1 was 2 hours 40 minutes. Part 2 was 2 hours 35 minutes.
How did you guys feel about the pacing? Did you feel like it was slow, or?
I was surprised because I kept feeling like more time had passed than I actually had, but not in a bad, I'm tired way. Mm-hmm. Like I just thought that it occupied wow, that was only an hour and a half before the first intermission. Like they covered a lot of ground, so there is a lot to it.
Yeah,
5.5 hour play, but it didn't feel slow to me.
Yeah. The other thing is, it's 2.5 hours. There's a 20-minute intermission, meaning each part is an hour 10. Mm-hmm. So you're not exactly even sitting for a long period of time. You get to stretch for a good 20 minutes. So even though it's oh my god, it's 2 parts, 5 hours, they're an hour a piece.
Bite size.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like binging shows on Netflix.
Somebody next to me said that. They said this is like binging a Netflix show. Yeah. Because you get to see all the parts in one night. It's like sitting down and,
Yeah, you get up, you go to the bathroom, you get water, you sit back down, another hour. Okay, time for dinner. You go eat dinner, you come back.
My takeaway final thought is I actually really liked the scene with Cedric Diggory. that Albus and Scorpius get to talk to him briefly, and it was kind of a nice moment that I thought was special and worthy of a shout out.
Yeah, and Albus is like, your dad loves you very much.
Like,
that was sweet.
Are you my task? Are you my task?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yes, for yes.
Well, thank you, patrons, for helping us do this live show here on a Thursday. Oh, it's Wednesday night, but it rolled over to Thursday.
Rolled over to Thursday now.
I'm trying to think if you've ever done a podcast at midnight before.
I'm sure we have. Maybe. And we used to on the other podcast. The question that I have is, when are we getting together to record the holiday commentary?
I don't know. We gotta buy Micah his copy, and then we'll.
You gotta come to Chicago.
Sit around and watch the holiday.
Sit around and watch the holiday.
No, yeah, but
it's part of the 777 challenge perks.
Do you have any thoughts about what we had to say? MuggleCast@gmail.com, Twitter.com/MuggleCast, Facebook.com/MuggleCast. We'll get back to the Quizzitch game next week.
Yeah, we got some correct answers, so submit the rest of yours over on Twitter.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening and your support. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Say your names.
Oh, I'm Andrew.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Micah.
Just in case anybody wondered.
Bye.
Bye.